Christ in the place. And I'ma shut up.
Hold up. Hey, y'all. What's going on, y'all? 38 Strategies of Raw is out. You know, I gotta plug my shit in before I give y'all some balls. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. You ain't never met a raw smoker that tried to sell everything in his house, even the lawnmower. He ain't trying to go on sober. So in the trap, I ain't only a drug dealer, I'm a pawnbroker. Cops looking for the raw odor. It's in the car motor. Them long trips made my heart colder. After this, I'ma cross over. I'm thinking more long term. You Scarface, I'm the Don Sosa. Niggas lying and rhyming fables. I'm the guy at the dining table, still supplying and buying yayo. But these snitches wanna lie and frame you. They try to hang you when they see your car emblem is a flying angel. So I ain't gonna say more. If I get a job, I probably quit by day 4. Me and my gun like a band on the state tour. So go ahead, clap, give us something to play for. What the fuck you niggas hate for? You gon' stay poor, I got a window for you on the 8th floor. I spit balls till your face sore. And the hardest nigga in your clique couldn't fuck with Shay Nor. You know what I'm saying?
What up, y'all? Just out here chilling. Doing a little bit of karate in the garage. I'm out here in Columbus, Ohio on this fabulous Thursday evening. It's 28 degrees. It's snowing behind me on the other side of the garage where you can't see. But I'm out here because this is what I do. You know, it's my place of freedom. You know. I pray for Bell. The flow is heaven sent, but I'm raised just smoking a fabulous Alpha Cigar New Orleans Edition Claro, which I tell you all the time you can pick up at www.londontobacconist.com. Go over there and check them folks out. My winter stick, you know, I was going to smoke something different, and I probably should have. I didn't know how long I could sit out here tonight since it's cold, but I'm not cold, so I picked a cigar that wouldn't last that long, you know, because these are my shorties, my half Coronas. I got a Nub 460 over there, but man, if I'd have smoked that tonight, I'd have probably been out here at least an hour and a half. So, yeah, just out here minding my business, thinking, looking forward to some boxing that's going to be coming up here over the next couple of weeks. A trap singer, say hello to your father. I'm proud of your sons. My bad, man. My neighbor's doing weird stuff, man. New York shit. Anyways, just thinking about, boxing is coming up, stuff that's going on in the boxing world. Not happy with the way this Tyson Fury and Wilder thing is going. Not happy the way it's going. I understand Tyson Fury had to go get his bag, but hey, and I understand now at this point that he doesn't want to fight Deontay Wilder, so it's time for Deontay Wilder to move on, at least for the time being. Until Tyson Fury gets some cojones and comes back to the table and wants to fight this man. I don't know which one we're gonna get. I can't wait to see. Hey, if Wilder really fights Dominic Brazil, woo! Let's go. Woo! I would not want to be Dominic Brazil right now. I wouldn't want to be, man. Real talk. I wouldn't want to be anybody that's going, have to square up with Deontay Wilder right now, man, because he mad over the way things have gone and such. So, but it'd be interesting to see how that materializes, where that goes. You got Sean Porter and Ugas coming up. All I know, Sean Porter, Cleveland, Ohio, better do his thing. Come out there and whoop Ugas. I'm not gonna sit here and I don't know a whole lot about Ugas, which is my own fault. I've seen him fight before, but I don't. Off the top of my head, really recall those fights. I'm pretty sure they wasn't all that memorable. So I got to see what he brings to the table. But I want Sean Porter to get past this Ugas fight. I want Errol Spence to get past Mikey Garcia, and I want to see Sean Porter fight Errol Spence. That's if Errol Spence can't get the fight made with Terrence Crawford. That's what I want to see. Which I think would be a great fight, man. Sean Porter likes to get inside, do his wrestling, his tussling. You know, he likes to fight rough. Errol Spence, man, that's the bully of the division, man. You know, he's bigger than Shawn Porter. He's gonna do some monstrous body work. You know, I mean, Errol Spence is the full package, man. He can box, he can slug. I just really think that would be a great action fight. I mean, the way Shawn Porter fights, you don't have any choice but for that to be an action fight, unless Errol Spence was to come up with a way to keep Shawn Porter from coming in, but no one's been able to do that thus far. So he's going to force you to get in there and bang and scrap. And I don't know, man. Over the course of 12 rounds or less, I think Errol Spence would break him down and beat him. You know, I mean, honestly. We've seen that Shawn Porter can be dropped. Adrian Broner dropped him. You know what I'm saying? Once he started to get a little bit more focused in that fight. So, you know, not unheard of, not impossible. Just dreaming. You know, at this point, it's all just dreaming. Man, the state of boxing is sad, man. I've never seen so many people just all they're concerned about is money, man. What happened to the legacy, man? What happened to the best fighting the best? What happened to wanting to be undisputed? You know, what happened to wanting to get out there, prove yourself, get your name out there, prove to everybody that you are the best? When I was growing up, man, that was the type of boxing that you seen. I mean, think about somebody like Evander Holyfield, man. He fought whoever he could. He moved up in divisions, fought the best at every single level, you know, and advanced his career. I mean, then that's just one example. But the thing with me is, you know, everybody talks about money. Well, you know, I want to be the A side, and, you know, I should get this and I should get that. But if you come out here and you believe in your talent, right, and you move up the ladder, you know, you prove yourself, you fight everybody. I mean, if you're fighting the best fighters, doesn't money come with that, right? I mean, so if you know, say, you know, you got a WBC champion that fights a WBA champion, all right, now you got both belts, right? So you've unified those two belts. Well, after that, if you go and you fight, you know, the IBF champion or WBO champion, I mean, you know, if that's the best fight that's out there, I mean, money comes with that, right? I mean, assuming those guys are the best. Now, if you're looking at the heavyweight division, where you've got Deontay Wilder with a belt, right? You've got Anthony Joshua with all the other belts. You've got Tyson Fury, who's the lineal champion without a belt, right? So he doesn't have a belt, but he is recognized as the lineal heavyweight champion. And then you got a guy like Luis Ortiz, who's a monster that AJ and Tyson Fury don't want to fight, right? But if your goal was to be the best, even though that man doesn't have a belt, he's right there. I mean, those are the top 4 heavyweights, right? So if those are the top 4 heavyweights, if they all were to fight each other, doesn't money come along with that? That's my point. That's what I'm saying. You know? And as long as we keep the money first aspect in boxing, we're going to continue as fans to be robbed of the fights that we want to see. And I mean, and that's real. That's just, you know, that's just how it is. You can't dispute that. So hopefully, you know, at some point here that all turns around. You know, Anthony Joshua, you know, if we just talk about the heavyweight division real quick, Anthony Joshua has his deal with DAZN, right? Tyson Fury just got his deal with ESPN. So Deontay Wilder might as well and go, you know, he now, don't get me wrong, he can make his money fighting individual fights, but he also, if he wants to secure a bag like those other guys, you know, he signed some sort of contract with Al Heyman and PBC, or he signs exclusively with Showtime, you know, whatever, right? Well, then, at some point, aren't these promoters forced to work with each other? Right? If you're going to deliver the best fights, right? If you claim, you know, Eddie Hearn claims that he's doing everything he can to make Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, despite, all the stuff that's happened in the past and what people have said, what he said, what they wanted, what's been offered, what's been turned down, right? If you want to make that fight, well, if Deontay Wilder goes ahead and signs on, a long-term contract with, Al Heyman or Showtime, well, Eddie Hearn is forced. His hand is forced to work with and negotiate with them, right? And then let's just say that somehow, Top Rank gets in there, whatever. Say it's, these promoters start to make a couple of fights. Well, across the board, they've got different fighters in different weight classes that are signed under them. So if that cooperation can kind of, make its way down the ladder, that helps to make those fights in those other divisions as well. What's really sad to me is boxing is in a position to where it could be great again. God, I hate saying that. It sounds like number 45 slogan in a sense. But, I mean, boxing is in a good place, right? For the longest, you had to have cable TV. If you didn't have Showtime or HBO, you weren't watching a decent fight. For generally speaking, up-and-comers would be on ESPN, Friday Night Fights. But generally speaking, all the good fights were going to be on HBO and Showtime. And many of them, even on pay-per-view. But now, you've got ESPN out there, that's showing some quality fights. They've got some quality fighters, in the stable that works with ESPN. The Zone, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Zone, but they got the middleweight game locked up. The only person that ain't in the mix-up for them is Jermell Charlo. They got Danny Jacobs, they got Canelo. They're getting ready to have their big fight. I can't remember, did Triple G end up signing with them or not? But, they're in the position to make the moves there. But, sorry, y'all. So, they've got that locked up. I mean, so, all the different, Al Heyman is Al Heyman. He got fighters galore in the PBC. So, I guess my point is there's talent in every stable, and it's time for these guys to come together. Give us the fights that we want, right? You've got it on mainstream TV now, where PBC's, fighting on, non-premium channels. You got fights coming on like FS1 and stuff like that, non-premium channels. You've got fights coming on ESPN, non-premium channels. And these guys have now also tapped into the app market. Apps are popular. Not everybody has cable. They're cutting the cord. So you got ESPN Plus, you got The Zone, you got like Showtime Anytime, so there's all these options. There's all these ways now to bring boxing back to the forefront and make it a mainstream sport. But, you can get casuals to buy those apps and tune in. I mean, honestly, if I'm not getting the fights that I want, I'm not going to pay for that stuff. And this is coming from somebody who buys pay-per-views. Like, anytime a good fight is on pay-per-view, I'm buying it. I've been buying, the first pay-per-view that I purchased was Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya, and I've been buying pay-per-views ever since. Now, the only reason why that's the first one I purchased is because that was when I had my first house, to be out there by myself buying pay-per-views. But my point is, I've been buying ever since. So I mean, what was that, like 2006, 2007, something like that? So here we are, 12 years down the line, I'm still buying pay-per-views. I'm still watching fights. The casuals aren't going to buy pay-per-views. They might go over to somebody's house every now and then and check out a fight or what have you. But now you can take these apps, you can take this, I don't want to necessarily call it broadcast TV, but I mean, you could say that. I mean, there's even fights on Bounce, But you can take those platforms and you can reach more casual fans and turn them into legitimate boxing fans. And we need to leverage that. You know, the boxing world needs to leverage that. You know, people say that boxing is dead, and it's very possible that boxing could die completely. You know what I mean? If we don't get rid of some of these obstacles, some of these challenges, you know, if we can't get people to work together. It's just crazy to me, man. I mean, boxing could be so much more bigger than it is. And the other thing we got to get rid of is the corruption in the sport, which the corruption in the sport ties back in to the promoters, you know, what they do with their fighters. You know, I mean, you already know, unless you have, I can't even name nobody. If you're going to fight Canelo Alvarez, you have to knock him out. Because he's such a cash cow, they're not going to let Canelo Alvarez lose a decision unless you literally whoop him from round 1 to round 12. And Canelo's too good of a fighter to get whipped for an entire fight. So, you know, I mean, the corruption's always going to be there. There's always going to be fighters that, you know, even though they may outpoint somebody and we're watching it and the judges are watching it, the guys, you know, the commentators be biased some, you know, on a lot of these, but sometimes they call the fights legit. And then we don't get the decision that we expect because of the corruption in the sport. You know, and that chases people away. I can't tell you, you know, how many people were, you know, trying to make their way back into boxing or that were watching fights that they normally, you know, like people hit me up like, oh man, did you see the fight this weekend, blah, 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 that normally wouldn't hit me up about a fight, you know? Like, for example, Ward Kovalev. There were a lot of people that felt that Andre Ward didn't win the first fight. You know? I got people hitting me up like, bro, what happened? Why is this? Why is that? You know? I don't understand, you know? And, I mean, Ward came back and won the second fight convincingly, but when a casual sees something that they consider to be corrupt, sometimes it's because they don't understand the sport, right? But a lot of these decisions that happen, I mean, they're legit. Think about somebody who watched Willie Monroe and I'm sorry, Harrison and Charlo, right? Charlo won that fight. I don't care what nobody says. Charlo won that fight. But what do we get? We get a decision, a bad decision, on a nationally televised fight, right? It's not on Showtime. It's not on pay-per-view. It's, you know, it's something that can reach out to the casuals and get them involved in the sport. And what happens? We have a guy get robbed on national TV. So, of course, that's going to push the casual fans away from boxing, you know? And MMA puts on so many events. I mean, God, I mean, sometimes it's a UFC pay-per-view like every weekend. At least that's what it seems like. So boxing got to do better, man. We got to do better. We got to get people, you know, keep people on board or get people on board. We got to get people involved in the sport. We got to take the time we got to capitalize on the opportunity to get these casual fans more involved in boxing and for them to become hardcore fans. The fighters are out there that can make it happen. We just need the promoters and the networks to work together to bring boxing back to where it should be. So yeah, man. So I just want to come out here, pop out, you know, holler a little bit of boxing. Just run my mouth, really. That's all I like to do. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, at whateverman, WHATEVA_man. My bad, man. This cold air messing me up. Feel free to send me a message. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. Dislike if you don't agree with me. You know, but feel free to share your opinions. Feel free to shoot me a message if you got a question about something, want to rap about something. Appreciate your support. I'm telling y'all, man, let's get on it, man. Let's put it on these boxing promoters Let's put it on these networks. You know, if they decide that they want to put Canelo Alvarez versus Joe Smo on pay-per-view, don't buy it. Go watch an illegal stream if you got to watch it. Don't buy it. Don't buy tickets to the fight. You know, the only way that we're going to get what we want is if, you know, at some point we're going to have to hit these promoters and these networks in the pocket. I mean, money talks, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate y'all, man. Be blessed. I'll holla.